Hello my fellow creators and welcome to my YouTube channel. I get to play with some fun goodies today. So I received these 3 die sets from Spellbinders, and these are all part of the Nichol Spohr Halloween Felt Stitch and Create collection. So this first one is Patchwork Boo, this cute little ghost here with patchwork on him. Then the next one I received is Harvest Witch Boot. Loving this, love that boot. And then the third one is Charming Witch Hat. Now these are all great die sets for felt stitching, but I thought I would do something with paper instead. So I cut out all my pieces ahead of time. I've got everything planned out on how I'm going to put it together. I did my stitching ahead of time because it can take me a minute just because my hands go a little slower than they used to. But I thought we could at least put the cards together on camera. So my first card that we're going to put together is using the Patchwork Boo die set. And I cut this little ghost out of some holographic paper. Sorry for the glare. And then for his little patches, I used some foil cardstock from my stash. Look how cute that's going to look. So I stitched with some just black DMC floss I have in my stash. I did add some foam tape to the back of him. And then the sentiments I'm using are just some I created on my Cricut. So this one says, "Have a beautiful birthday," and I thought that would be cute. Now this little panel here, my friends, this was a panel I made just using some black multimedia paper, and I was playing with my mica powders, and I had this in my stash and I thought, wouldn't that be pretty? I cut it with this like jagged edge die as well as the matte layer behind it, which is some glitter cardstock. Then I'm gonna add these to a black card base. So let's put this together. Now I know we just finished with all the Christmas in July fun, but goodness, Halloween in August, I'm loving it. It's so much fun. I love Halloween only because I get to see all the kids in their costumes and all the fun that they get to have, including my grandchildren and my children, to be quite honest, because my children still dress up and they're full-grown adults. So I'm going to attach these on there, and then we'll attach our little stitched ghost. And this one I'm going to put kind of at an angle for something a little bit different. Now my little ghost, he does have patchwork on him, so I'm going to attach these. I added some double-sided adhesive behind here, and I think I'm going to go in with a little bit more just to make sure that floss stays put. And then here I cut another piece of that same black cardstock that I had gone playing with my mica powders and added that to the back. Let me get this loose here. Now I had so much fun stitching these together, and you don't have to stitch. When you get these felt stitched dies, you don't have to do any stitching. That's entirely up to you. But I thought it would be fun to do that. And then we'll add, I had to pause for a brief second because my children were going text crazy. They tend to do that in a group chat. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the release paper from these foam rectangles I added so that we can add our stitched ghost to the front of these. And when I was making the sentiments, at first I was looking at, kind of happy Halloween sentiments, but then I thought about it, and I don't generally send out Halloween cards, but I do send out birthday cards, and there are people I know with birthdays in October. So I thought these would be fun to send out because the people that I know with birthdays in October don't mind getting Halloween themed cards. I'm careful about that because I know as a December baby, I don't generally prefer receiving Christmas themed birthday cards. So I'm careful about that. But I have these ready to send. All right, what do you think? There's card number 1. I love it. I love the way the little ghost came out. All right, and then the next one we're going to put together is using the Harvest Witch Boot die set. And again, I just grabbed papers from my stash. More of that black multimedia paper that I had played with. You can kind of see the shimmer on it. And then here, let me show you what I did. So this die is to make this flower. It's this one right here. But I thought when I cut it, it would be great for like fringe at the top of the boot. So that's what I did. I cut that and added it to the top of the boot. Thought that would be fun. And then again, more papers from my stash because I like using what I have when possible. So here's some holographic paper that I am going to add to the bottom because this is going to be kind of a floor that the boot is standing on. And let me add some double-sided adhesive to this because I don't think it's wide enough for me to use my ATG on. Now I will be sure to link to the goodies that I'm using in the description box below, my friends. And if anything is ever sold out, sometimes if you pay attention, it'll say notify me when back in stock or something like that. I would click that because that has come in handy for me when I go and I do that, and I'll get a text or an email and boom, I notified and I go back on the site and order what I wanted right away. Okay, so I'm going to use liquid glue for this part and dry adhesive because I am attaching to glitter paper. So I'm going to combine 2 kinds of adhesive here for good measure. What did I do with my liquid glue? Oh, here it is. All right. I'm going to attach this here. I know it's upside down, but it's okay because I'll just flip it around when I add to my card base. And then like for these leaves, I stitched with some metallic floss I had in my stash. It was stuff I got from Amazon probably. And I'll tell you, this metallic floss is not easy to stitch with. That's, I think, what took me the longest when I used that one versus regular DMC floss. Okay, let me get the tape release paper off. Oh my. Okay. Oh, the boot. Now with the boot, I didn't stitch around the edges here. I only stitched where it's laced up. And then I added some Color Essential Gems. This one, I used Berry. So I used that there. And oh, I also have the flower. And I also used the AB Spectrum or Spectrum AB on the center of my flower. And then for this flower, because I didn't use felt and I didn't kind of roll it up the way you would felt, I cut several of these fringe pieces and then just clipped off 2 pieces at a time, added them to the circle here, and laid them out so it looked like a flower this way. And I did do some curling of my paper, just using like a paintbrush, the end of a paintbrush. See if I can find one here at hand. So all I did was kind of curl this way a little bit so it has some dimension to it, right? And so let me get my boot on here first. Loving these dies. And then we can attach our flower and leaves and sentiment once we get this on here. Add some liquid glue as well. And it's kind of like our boot is just standing here. I was going to add this on some foam tape, but then I thought, no, I'm going to leave it flat just to let the little flower stand off to the side here. Let me press this down a little bit, make sure it adheres well. Oh, and then I use the same floss here to make the little bow here. I just have fun with this little boot. So much fun. Let me add a magnet to hold that in place for just a minute while I get my flower placed here. So I'm going to have 2 leaves, maybe. I know I had it set up the way I wanted it when I had it in the tray. Yeah, like that, right? I'm going to trim off this little bit of floss that's hanging over so you don't see it. And add some more adhesive here. Okay, that should work. And I did have this double-sided adhesive back here. While I was actually doing this, my son dropped by. And he's like, he sees me stitching on paper and he's like, what are you doing? So I'm working on something for a video. Okay. Then here, I think I might use a glue dot. So let me get my glue dots out. And these are the larger ones. So I'm going to use one of these on the back. It's a little bit thicker, so it will add some dimension. To our boot there. Oh, look how cute that looks. Oh, and our sentiment. We have to add our sentiment. And we have to add this to the card base. Goodness gracious. I forget steps, don't I? Now this one says, it's your birthday. No tricks, just treats. So I'm going to use a white card base on this one. And just attach it as so. Let me do that. In fact, I'm going to add my adhesive to my card base because I should have done this first, but I added the dimension and everything else already. So let's do it this way. Oh, isn't that so pretty? I love it. Love the way this turned out. All right, there's card number 2. Next, we're going to do a landscape card, and this one is going to be with the Charming Witch hat die. So again, I did my stitching ahead of time. Trying to get ready here how I do this. So same thing with this flower, with the die I used for this one, because I combined the die set so I could get the flowers on the witch hat. So I got this from the boot die set. And I added some gems to the center. I added 1 gem here to the center of the star. And then instead of stitching on my moon, I added a bunch of gems. And these ones, let me show you which ones I used. I used the Prism AB. Was that the ones I used? Yeah, Prism AB on these ones. So let's get these attached. And this time I'm going to attach my panel to my card base first before I start attaching all my bits and pieces. Now, let me know in the comments below. Do you ever send holiday themed birthday cards? So for example, if you have somebody with a birthday in October, do you send Halloween themed? Or if you have somebody in November, Thanksgiving themed, or December, Christmas themed. You know, I use this paper, and it's not a cardstock, it's like a really just paperweight, and it has this kind of like grain texture. I don't know if you can tell. There you go. Again, I had this in my stash. I'm pretty sure most of these specialty papers that I have are from 12 by 12 cardstock shop. Okay, so the hat's gonna go right here. Yes, yes, yes. And you'll see all the tape I added to the back of this one, because this one I used another of that metallic floss, and that one is hard to get to stay down. Even if I tied knots, it's just not, it does not play nice. So I'm gonna kind of double up what I use here. As far as adhesive, I'll use the the dry adhesive and the wet adhesive. Combination usually works. Make sure my card's in the right direction, because I tend to forget and put them on upside down. Isn't that pretty? And then our moon's going to go there. I think my flower's going to go here. And my sentiment up there, right? I think that should work. So let's try and get this attached onto my card. There we go. And flower's going to cover those threads, so I'm not worried about it. And I think I will use another one of those glue dots. This one's going to go right here. And then our moon, I had added some double-sided adhesive beforehand, so this one should be easy to place on a card. One more. Yes. All right. Kind of angle it over. There we go. And then our sentiment, and this one says, wishing you the happiest birthday. What do you think? Here's my 3 cards, friends. They all turned out so cute. Loving them. And I know just who's going to get which card. They are so cute. Thanks for sticking around to the end, friends. I'd be thrilled if you subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on any of my other social media platforms. As always, have a beautiful, safe, and creative day. Thanks for watching. Bye.